Now, please welcome to the stage New York Assembly member Zohran Mamdani and Senator Bernie Sanders.
Oh yeah, it's happening, folks. Bernie Sanders, the destroyer of oligarchs, has entered the arena to stand by who else but the new progressive superstar, Zohran Mamdani, the soon-to-be mayor of New York City. And the left is finally awakening. But first, let's give our dues.
And it is an honor to be here alongside Senator Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders.
The man, the legend, the sex symbol, the warrior of Vermont, the scourge of billionaires, the custodian of the Bern, the man that Jeff Bezos fearfully thinks of every night when he checks under the bed, Bernard motherfucking Sanders. Give us a brief biography, Zoran.
And in the same year that Ronald Reagan won, not just the presidency, but the state of Vermont, Bernie was in his 30s, a Democratic socialist, running against someone who had been powerful and well-known for years, an opponent who struggled to pronounce his last name. There are some parallels. And Bernie won that race by 10 votes. And then he won again, and he won again, and he won again. And the motto of not just Bernie's campaign, but governance, was Burlington is not for sale. And we know that in that motto of Burlington is not for sale, we see echoes in our own struggle today, where we have to say that New York City is not for sale. And so it is an honor to be here alongside an icon of our struggle. And also, we know that Bernie once famously said, if you want someone to wish you happy birthday, that's not me. But he also said, not me, us. And on Monday, it will be Senator Sanders' birthday, and I ask you to join me.
Happy birthday, Bernie. May you live to be 200.
Thank you very much. And it is an honor and privilege to be with you this evening and to congratulate the next mayor of the city of New York, on an extraordinary campaign. We have a situation where it is perfectly legal for billionaires to set up super PACs and spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars supporting candidates who will protect the interests of the rich and defeating candidates who are trying to represent working families. So in other words, what you are seeing now is an oligarchy with enormous economic power and enormous political power in both political parties. And what this campaign is about, and why it is so enormously important, is it a test case? It is a test case of whether or not democracy is still able to prevail. You know, in the old days, I mean, money has always played an enormous role in politics. Nothing new about that. But in the old days, they kind of kept it secret. Right now, you got people like Bill Ackman and others saying openly, front pages of the newspapers, we will spend as much as it takes to defeat this guy. You have the President of the United States working to make it harder for him to get elected. So what are these people, these oligarchs, afraid of? Seems to be a nice guy, dresses very nice, beautiful smile. Unlike me, he's a pleasant guy. What the hell are they afraid of? And what they are afraid of, brothers and sisters, is not only the question of bringing justice to New York City. You know what they're afraid of? They're afraid of Mr. Mamdani becoming an example to what can happen all over this country. And you know what else they're afraid? They have, because they control media, and political life and economic life, they control in many ways the culture of America. And this is what the culture today is about. It's about walking the streets of America and finding people sleeping out on the street. It's about seeing 60% of our people living paycheck to paycheck, while the people on top are becoming phenomenally rich. And what the culture says basically is, you are powerless. There is nothing you can do about it, because the oligarchs own it all. They have unbelievable wealth. They have power. They own the media. They own the political system. You are powerless. And what we are here tonight to say is, to hell with you. We're going to take you on. We're going to defeat you.
Bernie.
And by the way, it is not radical to say that we should have a foreign policy based on humanity and based on justice. That we should not be spending tens of billions of dollars on the government of Israel that is currently starving children to death. That is not radical. So they have the wealth, they have the power. But you know what we got? And that's what Zohran's campaign is showing. We have the people.
Great rally, great speech. The wheels are coming off. The race is on. The pedal is to the metal. And it is time to have another look at what's been happening in New York City.
Turning now to the race for mayor, where Andrew Cuomo steps up his campaign to clear the deck for a one-on-one race with Zohran Mamdani.
Political reporter Marcia Kramer is here with us now to tell us more. Marcia?
KJ and Jess. Cuomo's campaign to make this a two-man race comes amid reports that President Trump and the White House are looking for ways to entice Mayor Adams and Curtis Sliwa to fold their tents. While Cuomo insists he's had no contact with the president or the White House, that didn't stop him from endorsing the idea that those two men should step aside.
If you're not the strongest candidate, step aside.
Cuomo insists he had nothing to do with that and would never accept a Trump endorsement. But that didn't stop him from trying to up the ante, challenging the Queens Assemblyman and only him to a series of debates.
I challenge him to 5 debates, 1 in every borough.
I challenge him to 500 debates, 1 in every bodega, in every corner of every street of every bara. What the fuck is wrong with you, Cuomo? Nobody's watching that many debates for the New York City mayor.
I asked Mamdani about the Cuomo challenge, and he responded with one of his own.
Let's cut out the middleman. Why should I debate Donald Trump's puppet when I could debate Donald Trump himself? If Donald Trump is serious about this, he should come to New York City. We can have as many debates as he wants about why he is cutting SNAP benefits for hungry New Yorkers just to fund tax cuts for his billionaire donors.
At this point, it's not likely that the other candidates are ready to call it quits. A spokesman for Adams saying, quote, Andrew Cuomo already spent $25 million in the primary and still lost by double digits.
You know, he's not wrong. So Adams, for the moment at least, is not pulling out. What about the other guy, the Republican?
Absolutely no way, under no circumstance. You can't bribe me, you can't lease me, you can't rent me, you can't motivate me to lead this race. I am running as the Republican candidate.
So the big question on everybody's mind, who's gonna be listed out first? Will it be Eric Adams himself, somewhat of an expert at leasings?
You'll remember, shortly after taking office, Trump's Department of Justice dropped corruption charges against the mayor in exchange for Trump-favored immigration policies and cooperation from the mayor for them.
Or the Republican. My bet is on Adams, but remember, the question is, who's gonna be listed out first? Because sooner or later, they're both gonna be listed out. If not, there won't even be much of a race. Now, the important point behind these maneuvers.
If this was just a question of, am I going to face 3 candidates or 1 candidate, I wouldn't have concerns. I'm just as confident of beating Andrew Cuomo today as I was yesterday. My concern, however, is what these so-called leaders are willing to give up in the name of securing power.
Everything, Zoran. The answer is everything. And perhaps one of the only questions left is how will Mayor Mamdani respond to the threat of the Mango Mussolini?
You have to prepare for the inevitability of Donald Trump to continue being Donald Trump. We cannot, as you've said, rely on any notion of the law or what is appropriate for how he will determine his course of actions. And I look at California as an example, such that we are ready here in New York City on January 1st with a plan of partnership across city and state government to be ready, whether it's for the deployment of the National Guard or it's for his attempt to pass legislation like the one he just did, which will take an axe to so much of what keeps so many New Yorkers afloat. And I think we've seen what New York City can gain if we have a mayor who is willing to collaborate with Donald Trump, which is not that much at all. We've had money directly taken out of bank accounts. We've had a 6-year-old public school student from Jackson Heights being deported. This is what we have when you want to work with Donald Trump. We've seen what it looks like to manage Donald Trump, which is what we see in Andrew Cuomo. We need someone who's actually willing to fight Donald Trump. And we've seen examples of that right here in New York with Kathy Hochul. We've seen examples of that in California. It's time to have that in City Hall.
You have not yet received an endorsement from Hakeem Jeffries, who, of course, is the highest-ranking member of Congress and a member of the New York delegation. I know you've met 4 times. Kathy Hochul has not officially endorsed yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Curious. What does Bernie say to that?
I find it a little bit strange that when we have a candidate who competed very hard against a number of other people in the Democratic primary, my understanding is you won that primary. Is that correct? My understanding is you are the Democratic Party candidate for mayor of the city of New York, correct? Now, apropos of that question, I find it hard to understand how the major Democratic leaders in New York State are not supporting the Democratic candidate.
And what do we say to Cuomo?
We have to beat Andrew Cuomo one more time. We do. We do. This is a man who does not understand that no means no.
It's happening, folks.